In the beginning, there were 28. Now there are only 10. 10 teams that survived 16 rugged weeks to earn a shot at the World Championship. One of the proud 10 are the Buffalo Bills, a team that had won 4 of their last 5 games in order to travel to damp and freezing Shea Stadium to battle the surprising New York Jets. The Jets and Bills are similar clubs, each hailing from New York State, each playing in the AFC East, and each led by quarterbacks who enjoyed outstanding seasons. Buffalo's Joe Ferguson had a hot hand in 1981, firing 25 touchdown passes for over 3,600 yards. The Jets' Richard Todd was New York's savior. Todd set a pair of club passing records, but more importantly, he cut his league-leading 31 interceptions of 1980 down to only 13 in 1981. Even the 2 coaches share a similar background and philosophy. Buffalo's Chuck Knox and New York's Walt Michaels were assistant coaches together with the Jets years ago, and both are believers in the old credo that defense wins football games. The Bill defense was ranked 3rd in the AFC, and there is little doubt that in today's wild card playoff game, where the loser goes home and the winner continues on the Super Bowl path, they'll be fired up for this one. When it comes to intensity, perhaps no one is more frenzied than number 99, Mark Gastineau. Gastineau and fellow defensive end Joe Klecko anchor a Jet defense that allowed the fewest yards per game in the AFC. The Jets sacked the quarterback more than any other team in football this season, but the Bills allowed only 16 sacks, by far the lowest in the NFL. From a chilly and damp Shea Stadium, it's time for the playoffs to begin. It's the Jets and Bills hoping for a trip to Super Bowl 16 in Detroit. I'm Jim Nettleton, and this is the NFL Wild Card Game of the Week. There was some speculation prior to this playoff kickoff as to whether or not the Jets would be a nervous, turnover-prone team in their first playoff game since 1969. It didn't take long to find out. Number 26, Charles Rhodes, made quick work of a Bruce Harper fumble. And after 16 quick ticks of this wild card affair, the opportunistic Bills took a 7-0 lead. 3 contributing factors made the touchdown possible. A slick, wet ball, a stripping hit by Bills special teamer Irvin Parker, and an alert recovery on the run by cornerback Charles Rhodes. Rhodes has played like an all-pro in Buffalo's defensive backfield all season long, but his big play on the special teams to open this game was by far his biggest play of all this season. His fumble recovery not only provided Buffalo with a 7-point lead, but it seemed to set the tone of the day for the Jets, who simply could do nothing right in the early going. Number 85, Wesley Walker, dropped a sure touchdown pass, and with 8 minutes remaining in the quarter, Joe Ferguson set up in Fort Knox, the safest pass pocket in the NFL, and looked long for his favorite receiver, a wily veteran named Frank Lewis, number 82. Lewis made the catch at the Jet 25 and outraced the pack for a 14-0 Buffalo lead. Lewis was selected to the Pro Bowl this season, and his 70 catches for nearly 1,250 yards proved 1 point. Just because you're the oldest player on the team at age 34, there's always room on the squad for a crafty veteran. After over a decade in pro ball, you'd think that a man might have lost a step or two, but Lewis's great catch and subsequent end zone streak reveal that he's not getting older, he's getting better. If you add up the playing experience of all 4 Jet defensive backs, it equals 11 years, precisely the same length of time as Frank Lewis's tour of duty in the NFL. Lewis's touchdown catch was just the beginning of a great day for the Fergie and Frank show. Meanwhile, Richard Todd hooked up for a big play. Unfortunately, the man at the other end was Buffalo nickelback Rufus Bess, number 28. Bess picked off Todd's errant toss at the Bill 39-yard line and raced 49 yards down to the Jet 12. Richard Todd's touchdown-saving tackle stopped Bess, and the Bills were forced to settle for a field goal. And at the end of the first quarter, Buffalo was on the brink of a blowout, leading the Jets 17-0. A key to the Bills' success this season has been the play of offensive tackles Ken Jones, number 72, and Joe Devlin, number 70. Versus the Jets, Jones and Devlin match up with Klecko and Gastineau, New York's pair of truly great pass rushers, who combined for 40 sacks in 1981. In both contests this season against the Jets, Jones and Devlin kept the duo at bay, and in this, their third and most important meeting, they continued their pass protection mastery. With Klecko and Gastineau kept out of harm's way, Ferguson was free to read the defense and find the open receiver. Against the Jets, the light reading was enjoyable, and the principal character, as usual, was the hero, Frank Lewis. Lewis would finish the game with 7 catches for 158 yards and 2 touchdowns, establishing himself as the game's offensive star. With the New York sack exchange closed for the day, Ferguson and Lewis were free to transact their business all afternoon. Ferguson and Lewis drew the limelight as Buffalo surged to a seemingly insurmountable 24-0 lead. Shea Stadium was hushed, and the Jets were being manhandled by their upstate neighbors. As Ken Jones watched Lewis come down with his second touchdown catch of the game, he was given the only reward offensive linemen can receive, the intrinsic self-satisfaction that he had done his job, and by doing so, he had allowed Ferguson and Lewis to do theirs. The only ones who truly appreciate the dirty work of the men in the proverbial pits are teammates, and one who truly appreciated the efforts of this man in the mud was Jim Haslett, number 55. With 5 minutes left in the half, the Bills led 24-0, and if the Jets were to have any hopes whatsoever of getting back in the game, Todd would have to get his men on the board. Finally, after throwing a pair of first-half interceptions, Todd found Mickey Schuler for 6 points. Starting tight end Jerome Barkham was forced to leave the game with a hamstring pull. But Schuler, number 82, filled in nicely, and he certainly picked a fine time for his first reception of 1981. Schuler's catch made the score Buffalo 24, Jets 7. And it resulted because of a convincing Richard Todd pump fake and a great catch between Bill Simpson and Steve Freeman. With less than 2 minutes remaining, the Bills still led comfortably by 17. And then Joe Ferguson did something he surely did not want to do: throw an interception to let the Jets narrow the lead. Number 51, linebacker Greg Buttle returned Ferguson's pass to the Bill 14-yard line. And with time running out in the half, Todd looked for Mickey Schuler one more time. Schuler couldn't quite hang on, and the Jets settled for 3 to narrow Buffalo's lead to a couple of touchdowns. They were being drubbed, yet they only trailed by 14, and if they could score first in the second half, they'd be right back in it. One look on the face of Joe Klecko, and it was apparent that the Jets would give it all they had. Ahead, one of the most exciting finishes in playoff history. As the second half began, Jet followers spared no expense, using all sorts of sophisticated sound equipment to let their team know they were behind them. Apparently, such encouragement was received loud and clear by players like defensive end Mark Gastineau. It doesn't take much to excite the volatile Gastineau, and soon he was leading cheers along with the folks in the end zone seats. Maybe it was such noise, or more likely the Jet defense, that finally got to Joe Ferguson, because suddenly things started to unravel for the Bills. Greg Buttle's second interception of the game ended the first Buffalo drive of the half. And then Richard Todd began New York's initial march with a quick toss to tight end Mickey Schuler. The always fashion-conscious Bills linebacker Lucius Sanford, number 57, appeared to be fixing Schuler's collar, but it was a gesture hardly appreciated by the New York tight end. Even less pleasing to the Jets was a busted play that thwarted a touchdown at the Buffalo goal line. With the Bills holding their ground, the Jets called on Pat Leahy for a second time, and once again their kicker came through with important points. The Jets were starting to close the gap, but they knew that if they were to come all the way back, the New York Sack Exchange would have to start reaping some nice dividends for its shareholders. The Jet pass rush made it a bull market for everyone but the Bills. Playing on a badly injured foot, defensive end Joe Klecko was finally starting to win the battle against the Bills' pass protectors. And when a sack wasn't registered, the Jet rushmen forced Ferguson into some key errors. Number 26, Donald Dykes, who had played most of the season but had no interceptions, logged his first steal of 1981 when he pulled the plug on Buffalo late in the third quarter. For Buffalo, it was a period they were glad to see over with. The net result was 2 possessions, 2 interceptions, and no points, while the Jets were creeping even closer. But to Joe Ferguson's dismay, the fourth quarter was a carbon copy. On the Bills' next possession, they lost the ball again. This time, number 47, Jerry Holmes, was the pass thief. But to the Bills' credit, only one of these interceptions was turned into points by the Jets. Conversely, the Bills exploded for a quick score of their own soon after, when they forgot about the pass and left matters up to their ever-dependable runner, Joe Cribbs, number 20. Cribbs used his speed to get outside on a sweep right, and then it was a 45-yard foot race to the end zone. Cribbs' stirring jaunt through the mud made it 31-13 Bills, and sent some Jet fans scurrying to the parking lot with almost identical speed. With 10 minutes to play, many felt Cribbs' run had doomed the Jets. But those people were wrong. New York would turn it around and make things very uncomfortable for the Bills during the rest of the game. Disgruntled Jet fans who remained would soon be switching from scowls to smiles. The Bills' offense, weary but pleased, left the field, having forged a sizable lead. And now, with just 10 minutes to go, the Jet offense had the unenviable task of trying to come back. But their initial efforts did not bode well for a turnaround. For the second time, Wesley Walker dropped what appeared to be a sure touchdown. But on this occasion, it did not hurt the Jets. A few plays later, wide receiver Bobby Jones, number 89, erased the error when he joined forces with Richard Todd. A second look at the 30-yard scoring strike reveals that Jones made the grab, even though defender Charles Rhodes interfered with him. The clutch catch fired up the Jet defense, who quickly stopped the Bills, then handed the ball back to Todd. With only 5.5 minutes to go, this meant New York had to pass, and the Bills knew it. But they could not stop it, or Mickey Schuler over the middle. Schuler's receptions put the Jets inside the Buffalo 10. But then cornerback Rufus Bess turned in his second big play of the game. But the Jets bounced back from the loss. And when number 33, Kevin Long, lunged into the end zone, the once lopsided affair took on a brand new look. Impressively, the Jet defense held again, and when Todd took over with more than 2 minutes to play, things looked very good for New York. But then, the Bills came alive. First, it was a Fred Smerlas sack, and then an apparent game-ending interception by Buffalo's Steve Freeman, number 22. Fortunately for New York, however, the Bills were called for defensive holding, giving the Jets retention of the ball, plus an automatic first down. A few short completions by Todd put the ball on the Buffalo 11. Only 10 seconds remained when Todd dropped back to pass again. Number 45, veteran safety Bill Simpson came up with the key interception to save the day for Buffalo. Suddenly, it was over as the Bills let out a collective sigh of relief. The gun sounded, and the AFC wild card match had ended, with the Bills surviving 31-27. It was a heartbreaking defeat for the Jets, who lost on the scoreboard, but won in earning the respect and admiration of their opponents. Even though New York had once trailed by 24 points, they never quit and pushed the Bills to the limit before falling just short. Players like defensive end Joe Klecko could be especially proud of their performance. The Jets' talented pass rusher put on one of the great displays of courage, battling on a severely injured leg. If ever there was a symbol of New York's fighting spirit of 1981, Klecko was it, and the rival Bills were quick to laud him for his stamina. So now the Jets limp home to lick their wounds and think of next year. But the Bills are still very much alive and well as they move on to the divisional playoffs and a date with the Cincinnati Bengals. Winning that contest will be a challenge, but an even bigger challenge would be for those two teams to play a more exciting game than this one. The Bills-Jets wild card of 1981 will go down as a football classic.